to
the Zak
and Buzz
Review.
So we went to the cinema and watched
The First Omen.
Omen. Yes, we did a reaction to the trailers and we absolutely loved them.
Really loved the trailers. Really looking
So
forward
we
to
were
seeing the movie.
really hyped to go to the cinema and watch the movie.
Yep, definitely.
Okay. So perhaps we should start off by talking about the opening sequence of the film, which was probably the best bit.
Well, for me, yeah, because the fact that it had Charles Dance in it, and the trailers hadn't shown him
At all.
I hadn't heard anything in the media about Charles Dance being in it, and he's only in it for a bit. Just the intro.
Just this intro, yeah.
But it was like, as soon as I saw that, it was like, yay, they got Charles Dance.
So this is where Ralph Inson, who's playing Father Brennan, who was originally played by Patrick Troughton in the original Omen, which is obviously set after this.
He does a good job.
He actually, throughout the entire movie, does a really good performance.
Yeah.
But there's kind of this ominous tone to begin with that in this opening scene, there's kind of things that kind of chime off notes from the original movie.
Well, especially when
on the scaffolding.
Yeah,
that's what I'm talking about.
It starts off with the scaffolders lifting up some stained glass windows. And you're thinking immediately, yeah, somebody's going to cop it any minute now.
Yeah, in that sense, it was a bit predictable, but I think it was playing on the kind of original.
So Charles Dance is kind of being tracked down by Father Brennan, and he has then given Father Brennan a little piece of information about whatever it is that's going on within the Catholic Church, and then he says, that's it, I don't want anything to do with it, I'm out of here, and he disappears out the church. Father Brennan chases him down, and then he makes the fatal mistake of taking 3 steps forwards towards Father Brennan, and then we go into the sequence, which is totally Omen. We've seen it before. The glass is breaking, the rope has snapped, down comes the shower glass, followed by, a scaffold pole, which does literally, it was kind of...
It was going to hit him, because he stepped forward, didn't.
Yeah, well it did, it caught the back of his head.
Well, that's the big reveal, and it's that point where I kind of, didn't quite get what he was trying to do with that bit, because he, turns round and then smiles. You don't see him,
You kind of wanted him to sort of go...
Yeah, he just kind of turns around and smiles,
and there's a bit of blood on his teeth.
And then the title comes up.
See the back of his head, and his head's been split open, and you see his brain.
Yeah.
And it's like, really didn't see that coming, did we?
Kind of did. Okay, so I liked the tone of the movie, but throughout it did seem predictable.
It was okay, I'm going to bring it up. We watched Immaculate.
Okay, we're bringing that up.
And Immaculate, at the time, I think I scored it 5 out of 10. Mid-range.
Yeah.
And it was predictable. But I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
This one was virtually step-by-step not only predictable, but it looked like somebody had nicked the storyboard from Immaculate and said, hey, I've got this really good idea. Why don't we film The First Omen?
Well...
and copy it.
You say that, it could have been the other way around as well.
Well, it could have been the other way around.
It seemed like the plot was so similar. It was like almost watching the same movie twice.
Certain scenes throughout. The whole fact that you've got the novice nun who's gone to the monastery to take her vows or whatever it's called to become a full nun and give herself... get married to Jesus, so to speak, and there's people having babies, and it's all a plot to, well, obviously Immaculate was to create the Son of God, and this one is to create the Son of the Antichrist. And then we've got the same thing with that sequence at the end-ish where you've got in Immaculate where she's suddenly going to give birth and she does this whole screaming to the camera, and then in The First Omen, she's suddenly going, waters are broken and I'm going to do the screaming. It was almost like scene for scene the same. But in comparison, Immaculate was far the superior movie.
Well,
in my opinion.
In your opinion,
perhaps, I'm going to jump in, perhaps it's because we saw Immaculate
so close together, I reckon.
And I didn't expect the First Omen to be so identical that if we'd watched the First Omen and hadn't seen Immaculate, then maybe my rating for the First Omen would be more. But of course, you can't help but compare it to Immaculate
because it's so similar.
Which comes out on top for me. So there you go.
So the points that I will say the First Omen got above Immaculate was the fact that it was obviously a prequel and it needed to explain the things leading into the Omen of how events unfolded. And actually, I was actually very surprised why this type of film hadn't been done before. Because it was like this was the 70s.
Yeah, I know, but the Omen had a really kind of dark, supernatural presence to the movie. The musical score is unforgettable. Just the whole thing about the Omen was like put the chill.
A bit unnerving.
Yeah, unnerving, and you had this sort of evil presence. The presence of Satan seemed to be guiding everything, and like chase down Father Brennan when he gets killed by the lightning rod and all the rest of it. In this one, it just didn't. For me, it just didn't have that kind of gravitas, and also, again, we had the premise. I mean, like in the first one, I called them in our review. We had witches looking after Damien. I said Damon
You
last
said
time.
Matt Damon again.
Matt Damon. It's Matt Damon, really.
It's not Matt Damon. Maybe he's the Antichrist.
But we had these nannies which were looking after him, which could only be described as being kind of like witches.
Yeah.
And it was very, very much a kind of satanic cult.
Yeah, it was very ambiguous, those characters.
But in this one, they try to explain it. And it's like explaining in Star Wars the Force. Oh, it's just midi-chlorians, and it kind of like takes the mystery away.
Yes, I would agree with you.
In this one, but I'm sorry, I've got to say that in this one, it's all about the Catholic Church has discovered that they've got to a point in the early 70s where they're losing so many people that are falling out of faith. Yeah. Their whole, how would you put it? Their people that go to church, their followers have gone right down, and so they've come up with this great idea. Why don't we try and create the son of the devil? Well, and then when the son of the devil has started doing like devilishly bad things in the world,
people will come back.
Everybody will come back and start worshipping God again, and the Catholic Church is saved.
You say that,
and it's like
say that.
I do say that,
but they did make a stipulation in this that it's kind of like. There's a church within the church, if that makes sense. There's two factions of the church. There's the church that follows God, but then there's the church that follows the devil. No,
that's not how they put it. They said that there's the people in the church that follow God, nicely, and then there's people that follow God, but do bad things in the name of God.
But they have got a devil.
Well, they decide they're going to sort of, all these all these clergy have decided that it's a good idea to resurrect, or not resurrect, just create the son of the devil.
So perhaps we should talk about Margaret's character. And her character, we're following it throughout this entire thing, and she's kind of taken a liking to this kind of young girl in this orphanage.
Which is exactly the same as Immaculate.
Yeah. And it's all kind of like, everything's unfolding. We're expecting it to be like the little girl is going to be the one who's going to be like the mum of the Antichrist.
Yes.
Which technically could have been.
Yes.
But I did see that there was a twist coming. Pretty kind of midway through the movie. I kind of expected they're going to flip this on its head.
Yeah.
And either make the girl she's befriended being in her head.
Yeah.
Which wasn't.
That would have been a good one.
Or it was actually going to be, this was all a big setup, which it was, and she was going to end up being the actual mum.
Which was exactly the same as Immaculate. Mm-hmm. And you knew that she was going to be the mum all the way through. Yeah. And then it was a bit like getting the Summer Isles for the Wicker Man, wasn't it? This person is yet again being guided all the way through to ultimate.
So going to that tone again, obviously the Wicker Man is very similar kind of tonally to the Omen. It's not about the horror, it's more about the tone of how it
makes you like,
feel unnerved.
Unnerved. This one didn't at all.
Which is, yeah, it didn't really have that effect on me. I wanted to feel that, but it did feel slightly modern in its kind of way it was presented.
We had a friend with us who said that it was a horror film, and it was like the least horror film I've seen in ages.
Well,
was it meant to be a horror film? It kind of explained the story behind The Omen and ruined it, in my opinion. It didn't need to be explained.
Like Prometheus.
Especially not.
It's Prometheus.
Especially not based on the whole thing about Damien and being the son of the devil and getting into basically the presidential place in America. It just turns out it's because the Catholic Church want more parishioners in their congregations. It's so silly.
It's interesting because we did say that we were interested in the sequels to The Omen to see kind of where it goes, and I would say that I still am. But this, in itself, it did kind of actually set up its own thing, because if we're going to the end point where she's basically had this demon baby, but fun fact, it's twins. She kind of escapes with one, whereas Damien is obviously passed over to Gregory Peck in the original. Peck.
Gregory Peck.
Okay.
I might call him Damon. You're calling him Speck.
Sorry, okay, I'm sorry.
It's Gregory Peck, get it right.
That one. I mean, I haven't seen him in any other movies, okay?
Oh, you young people, I don't know what you like.
I've seen loads of movies, okay?
I know.
Loads of movies.
Anyway, okay, so she's had major abdominal surgery.
Like Prometheus.
Had literally her womb taken out with twins coming out of her belly, which has literally just grown like it's kind of like almost like alien. It's only gestated.
But it was, yeah. We hadn't really thought about this prior to this video, but the comparisons to Prometheus are actually quite stark.
I was virtually laughing. I was stifling my laugh when this guy has got his hands inside trying pulling his sack out. It's like this is like. Oh man. Anyway, so and then they stitch her up. So she's had major surgery, also like Prometheus.
Yeah, it was. It was.
And then she gets stabbed by her friend.
Her friend.
Who had conveniently disappeared out of the story at this point, and you're thinking
after taking her vows.
I'm waiting for her to make an appearance. And she did on the end of a scalpel as she stabs her. So she's had abdominal surgery, had somebody's hands inside her. And then got stabbed and left for dead, and then they set fire to the place,
including the demon,
the demon devil,
which is kind of
the jackal dog,
which is kind of like, is it or isn't it? Because in the original, it's kind of like revealed to be like we interpreted it that it was the mum being like the jackal, grave,
but it turns out it's the dad. The dad was the jackal. The dad is the sire, the jackal. And they have this jackal at the end that you don't really... You see the dog's head behind a curtain on fire. But
it's kind of, is it or isn't it a demon type thing?
Yeah, and well, the thing was, she was imagining it all the way through. She imagined some other lady having a demon baby coming out of her. She is in a market square where there's a riot, and she again got this demon hand on her shoulder, and then she's being licked by a demon tongue. So she's imagining this, and then she's supposedly had coitus with this thing, but I kind of feel that she was just imagining the demon, and that the demon that they had got there was not. I mean, if they had a real demon, that would be really cool, for a horror movie. But it's kind of like. But anyway, she escaped. After all that, she escapes. Yeah. She escapes with the baby, and she escapes with the nutty girl.
Yeah.
So all three of them have all got 666 on them.
Yeah.
And they've escaped.
Yeah, and they're kind of living in a house.
And then Father Brennan tracks them down and
basically says,
"Be careful, they're going to find you."
They know you escaped. They're after you. Yeah. Which is odd, because I don't think that actually plays into any of the Omen sequels, unless it's trying to set up a sequel to this film.
With 3 girls with 666.
666. 1 6 for each girl.
1 6 for each girl. We need the 3 6s.
Maybe they'd call it like the second Omen, despite being the second prequel.
I don't know if I honestly don't know if it's a good idea to do You know, well, no, it left me flat.
It's hard because it wouldn't be like a prequel; it would be like a concurrent one. Because obviously, by this point, it's been some time since like all the stuff went down.
Overall,
and Father Brennan at this point is obviously going to go off to obviously deal with Damien.
Yes.
Whereas these three girls are kind of living in a farmhouse somewhere.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Well, the girl at the end of Immaculate was just left, wasn't she?
Yeah, after killing mutant Jesus.
Mutant Jesus. Oh, damn. Anyway, I was really taken by the wonderful reverse trailer.
Yeah, it was very striking.
But
I liked the trailer a lot.
But it just fell flat for me in the cinema. In fact, the most kind of exciting moment of the whole movie was the moment where I had to tell a lady off next to me who kept texting on her telephone. It's got to about 30 texts when I turned around and told her, "Will you pack that up? Because you're not meant to be doing it."
There's literally a thing saying, "Do not do that."
And that was the most exciting part of the experience for me was that. But you know, it's all in the eye of the beholder. Yeah. I've seen reviews. Some reviews say that it's really great. Other ones do compare it to Immaculate and say
it's
Immaculate
unavoidable. This comparison.
Immaculate is the the one that shines.
But then on the other side, I have seen some that say this one is actually the superior of the two.
Well,
I kind of liked both of them. Neither of them are like super duper amazing in my opinion, but I kind of liked both of them. And it's kind of odd that they came out so similarly close to each other.
So we've got to go through the plot a bit.
Yeah.
Okay, we now know that the whole Damien thing is a plot by the Catholic Church to get new parishioners into the church. And they've left it open at the end.
Yeah.
So,
do you think it was a good prequel?
I think it was the lesser son of greater sires.
Ooh, that was very profound.
That's what Saruman says to Theoden in the Two Towers, I think.
Yeah.
Anyway, yes, so that was my opinion. I think we should get to actually scoring this on a scale of 1 to 10. So
come down to the nitty gritty.
1 being lots of putrid, evil demon slop, and 10 being, well, I'm going to use it, immaculately wonderful. Right?
Or anti-immaculate.
Well, anti-immaculate. I scored Immaculate at 5.
Yep.
I've had
enough time to digest
the movie. I came out of the movie and literally said, "Well, I ain't gonna get that time back." I'm gonna give it a 3.
Give me a 3.
A 3, which I think is better than how I felt when I came out of the movie yesterday.
Now, it's interesting because in this sense, I think because I only saw The Omen in full not so long ago before we watched this movie.
Yeah.
And I really wanted to kind of get that explanation of what it was all about.
I didn't want an explanation. I just wanted to see where it began.
I do now realise, like, essentially the First Omen is Prometheus explaining things you don't really want to explain, or it's not sufficient answers for what you wanted explaining.
Yeah.
But I did like it. I came out of that saying I did like it.
Come on in, give me your score.
I'm going to go with...
Big drum roll.
I'm going to go with a sideways crucifix.
Ooh,
I'm going to go 5.
Sign of the Antichrist. You're going 5.
I'm not going upside down, I'm just going halfway round.
Okay, you go 5. Yeah. Okay, so there you go. You might feel different about this when you've seen it, or if you've already seen it. Please put it in the comments what you think, lackluster movie.
Would you recommend it? I would say...
Maybe it would be better on a second viewing.
Potentially, watch this before going and watch the original. For like new people, the modern audience, it's kind of a gateway potentially into watching the old ones, or potentially even the remake, though that wasn't well received.
And if you haven't seen Immaculate, don't watch it before seeing this movie. Or
if you have, give it a good month or 2 before you go and watch this, because you're essentially going to wow, this is so similar.
That was the big downer. Immaculate spoilt the watching of this.
Which is a shame.
Because it was also one other thing to finish it very, very slow for the first half of the movie.
That's exactly what I thought. I didn't quite know what to feel for about the first
Was it going
first
anywhere?
half.
Is it really going to go anywhere? So slow.
But then things start finally.
They
kicked into
finally
gear.
sort of get going. So there you go. Anyway, there. Job done.
If you enjoyed this review, please like and subscribe to this channel and comment below any suggestions of further reviews you'd like to see.
Yes, we'd love to hear your feedback. See you in the next one.